Go to the next video that what is the I have drawn. This is a ray diagram for minimum deviation. Look at the very important point, my dear. In my previous two ray diagram, I was bending the light towards the base. I was bending the refracted ray towards the base. You can see this is my refracted ray. But my dear, as soon as I said for minimum deviation, I and E become equal. When I say angle I and angle E become equal, so here also, my dear, this angle I vertically opposite and here is this angle E vertically opposite. These angles are equal. R and R dash are equal, my dear, of course. Because if I and E are equal, R and R dash, because here is E and here is I, vertically opposite, you can see. So R and R dash also equal. Even this angle and this angle are equal. So what will happen? This angle and this angle, that is this 60, 60 and this is 60. So it is, if you can see the two triangle AQR and another is ABC, is all of 60 degree. So even this becomes 60 degree, my dear. Even this becomes 60 degree. So no doubt the QR at minimum deviation, the refracted ray QR will be parallel to the base of the prism. So please, this is the condition के अंदर में you have to write. Student write only I is equal to E. But don't you think when I and E are equal, so inside here also this I, because vertically opposite, here it is E vertically opposite. So this R, this I and this E become equal. So this angle R and this angle R dash will become equal. Similarly, this small angle I minus R and this small angle E minus R will equal. So what will happen? This entire triangle, this angle you can see, which is of 60 degree, becomes 60 degree. And they are all equal. So I get two part also here. One is AQR, a triangle AQR, and triangle ABC. They become a similar triangle. And therefore the side QR, the refracted ray QR, become parallel to the base. Become parallel to the base, my dear. Try to understand. So whenever you draw the diagram, ray diagram for minimum deviation, take care your refracted ray should not bend towards the base. No, it is bending towards the base. That is the property of prism. That it reflect the light, refracted light or refracted ray inside the glass bend towards the base. Okay, fine. But when I and E are equal, that is at delta M, at minimum deviation, the refracted ray will parallel to base of the prism according to the geometry of the figure. So here it is base of prism. So I have written here the point number 1, my dear. I am writing here condition for delta M, that is minimum deviation. Condition for minimum deviation. And what is the condition for minimum deviation? Number 1. There is one and only, first condition, one and only one value of angle of incidence for which angle of deviation is minimum. Which is called angle of minimum deviation. So what is angle of minimum deviation? Angle of deviation, the value of angle of deviation I am writing here for which value of What is angle of minimum deviation? Angle of minimum deviation is nothing but the value of angle of deviation where it is minimum. Simple. Or you can write this in the next line. But this is the first point. Second point, my dear, because I have asked here what is defined angle of minimum deviation. So what is angle of minimum deviation? I will write it afterward. But this is the first point of the condition. That are one and only one value of angle of incidence sir होना चाहिए. पहला condition. 4-5 values नहीं होना चाहिए. इसलिए graph should not flat. Wrong graph, because here there is many values of I am getting. Where the value of delta is minimum. So wrong graph. The graph nature should like this. Only one value. This is wrong. Am I clear, my dear? So, and second condition now, my dear. The second condition is, please you understand the topics. I hope now it is clear. So don't say only I and E are equal, my dear. Write proper things, because when you are writing condition, it should be a proper way. So this is also a condition कि भाई एक ही value of angle of incidence होना चाहिए for minimum deviation. Second, for minimum deviation, I is equal to I dash, that is equal to E. Because books has given I dash also, book has given E also, so I have written both. So I is equal to I dash equal to E. That is angle of incidence must equal to angle of emergence. According to the principle of, according to the principle of, which principle, my dear? According to the principle of, and the principle is called principle of reversibility. So that light ray retraces its same path through 180 degree. This is proved by this principle, and hence I and E equal होना चाहिए, नहीं तो principle of reversibility fail है. Please. Third point, third condition, for or at minimum deviation, ये भी condition है. At minimum deviation delta m, at minimum deviation delta m, minimum deviation पे क्या होना चाहिए? condition दिख रहा है. I और E equal हो गया, तो सर ये जो refracted ray है, that will be parallel to base. Because when this E is equal to vertically opposite IE, then this is I and vertically opposite I. Here it is I minus R in my previous topic. Here it is E minus R. R and R dash will equal. Am I clear? I minus R and E minus R will equal. This entire triangle will become 60 degree then. If this is 60, this will be 60, this will be 60 then. So I will get two triangle AQR and triangle ABC. Both are similar triangle AQR and ABC at this stage. And hence QR and BC become parallel. QR and BC become parallel. So here at minimum deviation, the refracted ray must travel parallel to the base of prism. Yeah, the refracted ray is parallel to the, at minimum deviation the refracted ray is, refracted ray कहाँ पे है? Refracted ray in glass prism. Refracted ray in, I have written here refracted ray. Refracted ray, what is the name of refracted ray? QR. Refracted ray QR in glass prism is parallel to the base of prism. So these are the three conditions, my dear. That first condition sir, वहाँ एक ही value होना चाहिए angle of incidence का. Second sir, at this stage for delta m, I and E are equal. Am I clear? Because as we take the principle of reversibility, it will obey the principle of reversibility and the light will retrace the same path with 180 degree. Am I clear? So I and E must equal. And at minimum deviation, sir, one more thing, once I and E become equal, so the another angles inside, you can see inside the glass prism is also get equal. So that sir, we get the triangle say AQR and triangle ABC by geometry. We will come to know if I and E are equal, my dear. You have done in the rectangular glass slab also. I and E are equal, the rays are parallel and all that. But here when I and E are equal, the refracted ray will become parallel. If this and this angle are equal, the refracted ray become parallel according to geometry of figure. And this is parallel to whom? This is parallel, the refracted ray will parallel to the base. That is also a condition. So in the diagram, if you are bending, for minimum deviation diagram, if you are bending the ray of light like this is wrong diagram. Here you cannot say I and E are equal. This is I and E are not equal. This is a diagram for I and E are not equal. For I is equal to E, diagram is this. I am writing here. So this is what is the difference in the ray diagram, my dear. Take care, because students are not taking care of this part. They are drawing all the ray diagram, they are not taking care that in earlier ray diagram, you can see the book. In earlier ray diagram where it's not a question of minimum deviation, only a question on deviation, my dear, then it will be bending towards the base of the prism according to air glass principle and all that. But when we take I and E are equal, so this is only, my dear, the ray diagram showing for minimum deviation where refracted ray has to draw parallel to the base. I hope it is clear. Now in my next topic I will go for minimum deviation, how to find minimum deviation. So here I am writing, and here I am writing definition of minimum deviation. It is the minimum value, it is the value of angle of deviation, it is the value of angle of deviation, or it is the minimum value of, it is the minimum value of angle of deviation called angle of minimum deviation. And it is denoted by delta n. So I have written here that what is the things, it is the, my definition, my dear, it is the minimum value of kiska, of angle of deviation, and it is called angle of minimum deviation. Now let's go to the topic for refractive index, my dear. So here I am writing expression for Ri, that is mu, at expression for Ri, that is mu, at delta is equal to delta n. So here I am writing, so when delta is equal to delta m, my dear, I and E are equal, and R and R dash is also equal from figure. From geometry figure I have explained. If I and E are equal, of course, then R and R dash will also equal, because यहाँ पे भी I है, यहाँ पे भी E है, both are equal. So this angle is also equal. Even this angle and this angle become equal. Even this entire angle and this entire angle become equal, my dear. To each other. To each other. I hope it is clear, my dear, by geometry of figure. So I is equal to E, R is equal to R dash. So now, my dear, here, what if I use the Snell's law? By Snell's law, when light enters from air to glass, because air is air and air is glass. So when light entered from air to glass, my dear, right? So what will be the formula? Mu of glass, because light is coming in glass with respect to air. But this is given as, in my question, mu of glass is given as mu. You can see refractive index for material, that is of glass, is given as mu. And that is now, my dear, in air, because it is coming from air, what angle is made? I, that is sin I, divided by, because जहाँ से आता है, that angle is written first. So it coming from air, angle in air is I, and going in glass, making angle as R. So this is sin R. So now, my dear, you all know this is mu is equal to sin I by sin R, and mu, because this is mu of glass. With respect to air is showing from where the light is coming, but where it is going in glass, and refractive index of glass is given as mu. So I have taken this as equation number 1. Now, my dear, according to here, I will rub this portion. Now here I will take, my dear, the section that what will happen now. So now, since it is going from air to glass, according to the deviation formula, according to the formula of deviation in glass prism, what is the formula of deviation in glass prism, my dear? You all know the formula is delta is equal to I plus E minus A. You all know delta is equal to I plus E minus A. But now, my dear, you said that, and so here this will be I, delta is equal to delta M. But when delta is equal to delta M, I is equal to E and A is equal to R plus R dash will now become A is equal to 2R. You can see. Am I clear, my dear? So at this stage, what is happening? Delta is equal to delta M, I is equal to E, A is equal to R plus R dash, and R is equal to R dash. So now, since, or I will write here, and R is equal to R dash, then this will become, my dear, you can see from the figure, you can see this will nothing but sine delta M is equal to, here, this is 2I, because I and E are equal, minus A, therefore 2I is equal to A plus delta M. Therefore, I is equal to A plus delta M divided by 2. I hope it is clear. This is put it as equation number 2. This you put it as entire substitution as 3. So on substituting 3 into, we get this. Also, A is equal to R plus R dash. since R is equal to R dash for delta is equal to delta M, don't write in your condition R and R dash are equal, because I and E are equal, so R and R dash will be equal. So don't write the repetition. Once you written I and E are equal, my dear, rest all angle inside R dash equal, I minus R, E minus R equal. This entire angle is become equal to this entire angle. Am I clear? So please take care of this. Don't repeat the points. Once you written angle of incidence and emergent equal, it's but natural the refracted ray inside will be equal, and this according to symmetry triangles, this line, the refracted ray become parallel, and refracted ray become parallel matlab R and R dash become equal with the normal. So now A is equal to R plus R dash. So R is equal to R dash for delta is equal to delta M, my dear, and therefore here you can say A is equal to 2R, because R and R dash are equal, hence or therefore R is equal to A by 2. This is my equation number 3 and this is equation number 4. Substituting 3 and 4 in 1, we will get beta in 1. So mu is equal to sine I upon sine R is 1. So sine of I is A plus delta M whole divided by 2 whole upon sine of R value is A by 2. So this is A by 2. I hope it is clear, because I value is A plus delta M by 2 and R value is A by 2. So this is, my dear, the derivation for the refractive index for this topic. So I hope all the questions, all the 3 questions is clear. Remember the ray diagram when you are drawing for minimum deviation, the refracted ray should parallel to base. As soon as it become parallel base, of course R and R dash become equal. Thank you all and Jai Hind.